On how to use the quick rundown on how to use the interface. First thing you have to do, no matter what happens, once you start up, you have to home the machine. So make sure the arm is out of the way of everything, hit the home button, and it will go through a little homing routine. That's simply to make sure that it knows where it's going. So other things you have along this side are 0, trace, load, and tune. 0 picks your origin, trace takes you to the tracing screen, load allows you to load a file from USB, and tune allows you to change these parameters down here like feed and whether you're at inches or millimeters and things like that. So moving right along to the trace screen, we're going to go into the trace screen here. We're going to attach the stylus to the machine and lock it down, and then we are going to plug it in. So now what that allows you to do is allows you to pick your points anywhere in the on what you're tracing, and then you can simply pick a point, click, another point, click, and it creates a straight line in between each of these points. And if you push and hold the stylus button, it will freeform trace. And when you're done, you can hit double click. And now you have a few options. You can close the loop, which is nice if your sketch is a little off. Choose center cut, left cut, right cut. That's just what side of the line does the thing cut on. We're going to go with left cut in this case. And I'm also going to change the lead, which is the amount it runs in before it starts cutting, to about 0.3. So, bingo, you got a freehand trace. Not a very good one, but a nice one. You can also simply pick a spot and choose circles, and again pick a spot, push the button, and it will create a circle. Same thing, couple of little, if you want to change the diameter of the circle, and in this case, we're at 2.6, I'm going to 2.0. So I got a 2-inch circle right there. Again, center cut, left cut. And then the last thing on the tracing menu is we've got squares, so you can do rectangles. So I can put a rectangle in an arbitrary place, change the diameter of the rectangle, change the angle of the rectangle. So if you choose that, you can actually put it at a 45 degree. Whoops, choose the angle, 45. So you've got basic tracing functionality there. I'll let you play with that. Then all you do now is save it. This is to a USB plug that I've got plugged into the side here. So right now we don't have the option of changing the names. Sorry, that's coming. And that's done. You can exit that, go back to the main screen, and now you have the ability to run the file. But first you want to pick your origin, so you move it over to the piece of the steel that you want it at, and you hit 0. And now it'll move your whole drawing over to where the thing starts. The other things you need to know about this screen is this button up here changes the orientation of the screen. So see how the curve starting from, depends if you're standing in front of the machine or behind the machine. So you want the screen to be moving in the same direction you are. You can also zoom. So if you touch the far left side of the screen and go in and out, you can zoom, and then anything you want, you can pan around. So that's the basics on getting a sketch done, and then you simply hit run to start. Now, sorry, I need to remove once you remove the stylus, which I forgot to do, you have an option here. See how this says a line through it? That basically means the torch won't start. That's your dry run. It allows you to run around the file as a dry run, and then you hit that, and the torch will start. Stop is an obvious one. Pause is also a fairly obvious one. THC, don't worry about that one. We haven't got that feature in there yet. Tune. Now what tune does is it takes you to this. This is a slightly older interface, but this is all your parameters. Feed rate, dwell, how long the torch stays on at the beginning before it starts moving, how long it stays on at the end. Lead in, that's the length before it starts cutting your curve. Feed's probably the one you're going to want to play with the most. Right now it's 50 inches a minute, which is pretty good for sort of, let's say, 1/8-inch steel, or maybe a little bit thinner, 40 or 50 amps. If you've got a lighter or a smaller machine, you want to slow it down a little bit. You want to go as fast as you can and still cut through. You'll get the cleanest cut if you move as fast as possible. So that's the one you want to play with. I'll leave the defaults in here as something pretty close to what you're going to need. So There's one other thing you can do. You can also go back and add to the trace. If you're not done with it, you can go back and add another something else to the trace. You do not need to have the stylus. You don't have to have this connected. If you want to just trace with the torch, you can use this knob. It has a button, a push button on it, so you can, pick a trace line and then use. Oh, it's even going to continue creating my previous one. So also there's undo. If you screw up, you can go back and change things. But for instance, if I want to put a circle up here, I don't need to use the stylus. I can just use the button here and I get the same sort of parameters. So there you go. That should be enough to get you started. Please don't hesitate to give me a call if you have any questions. Thanks.